The house on Katydid Street was breathing. Violet Hart could feel at the moment she stepped inside a shudder in the walls, a whisper in the air-conditioning vents. Her mother's new husband, Henry, called it character, but Violet knew better. The 1920s mansion, all cracked plaster and peeling gold leaf, had watched too many secrets. It had a way of pressing its weight into her shoulders, as if reminding her, "You're next." "This is where you'll sleep," Henry said, gesturing to a room at the end of the hall. The walls were papered with vines that seemed to writhe in the light. Violet's twin sister, Lila, had chosen a room downstairs, but Violet had drawn the short straw. Or maybe the house had decided for her. The truth was, Violet had always been the one who felt things. The way the air crackled before a storm, the way her mother's laughter sounded too loud when she lied. Now, in this house, the static was worse. It hummed in her teeth, pulsed in her temples. She'd started dreaming of a woman in a 1940s dress, pacing the halls of the house, her face a blur. Her mother, Clara, had remarried quickly after Dad's death, a fact Violet blamed on the house. Henry, a real estate mogul with a penchant for fixer-uppers, had swooped in, offering stability. But stability was a lie. The baby, Clara's new joy, slept in a crib in their parents' bedroom, while Violet's sketches of the house's hidden rooms piled up in her notebook. The first clue came on a Tuesday. Violet was in the attic, tracing the initials VH 1942 carved into a beam, when she heard a child's laugh, high and bright, echoing from the floor below. She followed it to the study, where Henry stood frozen, a black and white photo clutched in his hand. "Who's that?" Violet asked, pointing to the girl in the snapshot, her face identical to Violet's. Henry's smile faltered. "No one. Just a previous tenant." But Violet recognized the girl's defiance, the way she tilted her chin, the smirk that mirrored Violet's own. The house had a history of girls like her. That night, Violet dreamt of the woman again. This time, she was clearer, auburn hair, a threadbare dress, her mouth moving soundlessly. Violet woke to the smell of burnt sugar and the sound of a piano playing Moon River in the parlor. No one was there. The next morning, she found the music sheet on the piano bench, a handwritten score, the margin scribbled with coordinates. 30.2672 degrees north, 88.3833 degrees west. It read. Violet recognized the location, the abandoned lighthouse on Dauphin Island, 60 miles south. She didn't tell Henry. The lighthouse was a skeletal thing, its walls leaning like a drunk. Violet climbed the rusted stays, her phone's flashlight cutting through the dark. At the top, she found a journal tucked behind a loose brick. The pages were filled with the same looping handwriting as the music score. "They say the house feeds on girls who see too much," it began. "But I'll leave a map. Follow the stars. The syndicate won't stop, they never do." The journal ended mid-sentence, the last word smudged with what looked like blood. Back at the house, Violet's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "You shouldn't have come here." She deleted it. The syndicate's name haunted her. She'd heard it before in a whispered conversation at the grocery store, in a Reddit thread about cults in mobile. They take the girls who see the cracks, the thread read, and they never come back. That night, Violet's night maze deepened. The woman in the dress led her through the house's hidden passages, down a staircase into a basement she'd never known existed. There, in a room lined with mirrors, she saw herself reflected endlessly, but each version was older, colder, as if the house had been aging her in secret. "You're almost ready," the woman whispered. The final clue came from Lila. "You're not alone," her sister said one morning, her eyes wide. "I've been hearing things too. The house, it's alive, and it wants what you found in the lighthouse." Violet opened her mouth to argue, but Lila's voice cracked. "Mom's hiding something. Henry too. That baby? It's not ours. It's a replacement." Before Violet could respond, A crash echoed from the kitchen. Clara stood there, the baby swaddled in her arms, her face pale. "Time to go," she said. "We're leaving tomorrow." But the house had other plans. At midnight, Violet woke to the sound of a child's laughter reel this time. She followed it to the attic, where a door she'd never noticed stood ajar. Beyond it, a staircase spiraling downward, lit by faint green light. At the bottom, she found a room filled with mirrors like the one in her dream. And in the center, a portrait of a girl who looked exactly like her painted in 1942. The caption read, "Violet Hart, taken by the syndicate. Next victim, 2025. A hand clamped over her mouth. "You're late," a voice hissed. The syndicate's leader dragged Violet into a hidden chamber, where a map of the house glowed on the walls. Each room was marked with symbols the same one from the Lighthouse Journal. "You're the key to opening the gates," they hissed, "or the first to be offered." Violet's breath hitched. The leader's voice was familiar, distorted by a mask shaped like a serpent's head. "Offered to what?" she demanded. "To the true syndicate." The figure replied, gesturing to the map. "The house isn't just a trap, it's a portal. And you're the final piece." The chamber's walls pulsed with an eerie green light, revealing shelves of journals and a locket identical to the one found in Violet's attic. A 1942 date was etched inside, "Violet Hart, taken by the syndicate. Next victim, 2025. "You're not the first," the leader said. "The house feeds on girls like you, those who see too much. But you're special. Your bloodline, it's ancient." Violet's mind raced. The syndicate's name echoed in her night maze, but now she understood. They weren't just a gang. They were a cult older than the house itself. The journal spoke of rituals, of offering victims to an entity that fed on human fear. "Why me?" she asked. The leader laughed, a sound like cracking ice. "You're the last of the Hart line. Your ancestor, Violet Hart, bargained with the syndicate. She traded her soul for power. Now, it's your turn." The chamber's floor began to shake. Symbols on the walls flared, and the map's glow intensified. Violet spotted a symbol she recognized, the serpent and palm tree from the syndicate's crest. "Stop," she cried, but the leader pressed a dagger into her chest. "The ritual starts at midnight. Your blood will open the gates, and the house will live." Flashback. Young Violet, age 10, stands in the attic, tracing the initials VH 1942 in the dust. A woman in a 1940s dress appears beside her. "Run," she whispers. "They are coming for you." Back in the present, Violet fought, but the leader's strength was unnatural. "You're not human," she gasped. "Syndicate members transcend," the figure sneered. "We've been here since the 1800s watching, waiting." The chamber's walls melted away, revealing a staircase leading to the basement. Violet glimpsed a reflection in a mirror, her eyes now glowing gold. Present day. Lila stumbled into the hidden chamber, clutching a flashlight. "Violet!" The leader turned, and Lila froze. "You're not her," they said, "but you'll do." "No." Violet lunged, but the leader raised a dagger. The ritual begins. The house shuddered as the syndicate's chant echoed from every room. Violet's blood dripped onto the map, igniting a green flame. Shadows coiled like serpents, and the walls dissolved into a labyrinth. "We are the gatekeepers," the leader hissed. "And you are the key." The scream that tore from Violet's throat was swallowed by the house's hungry silence. Clara stood in the shadows, her face pale beneath a serpent mask identical to the leader's. "You're late," she'd whispered. Now, the truth hit Violet like a blow. Her mother had always been part of the syndicate. The ritual's green flame consumed the chamber, and the walls dissolved into a labyrinth of mirrors. Clara's voice echoed, distorted by the mass of syndicate members crowding the room. "You're not the first heart to defy us," she said, "but you're the last." Flashback. Young Clara, age 12, kneels in the same chamber, her hands bound. An older woman, Violet Hart's ghost, pleads, "Don't let them take your soul." Clara's eyes harden. They'll get what they want. Present day. Violet fought, but the Syndicate's power was ancient. Symbols flared on the walls, and the house itself seemed to breathe, its walls flexing like flesh. "The gate opens at midnight," Clara said, pressing a dagger to Violet's throat, "and you'll be its first offering." Lila appeared in the doorway, her face streaked with tears. "Stop, Mom," she cried. Clara's laugh was cold. "Lila isn't your sister. She's a replacement." Violet's world spun. The Syndicate had swapped Lila for the real daughter years ago, a detail Clara had hidden behind adoption papers. The ritual's chant grew louder, and the house's foundation shuddered. Violet spotted a symbol on the floor, a serpent coiled around a palm tree, just like the one in the lighthouse journal. "The gate is a mirror," she realized aloud. "You've been using the house to swap victims for centuries." Clara's mask cracked, revealing a flicker of fear. "You're smarter than your ancestor," she hissed. "But that won't save you." The ritual's cost. As midnight neared, the Syndicate's mask began to glow. Violet's blood dripped onto the floor, igniting a green flame that spread like wildfire. The house's walls melted into a portal, revealing a void filled with shadowy figures. "They're here," Clara whispered, her voice trembling. "The true Syndicate." Violet lunged, shattering a mirror and slashing Clara's hand. The Syndicate leader's grip loosened, and she fled into the labyrinth. The house's secret. In a forgotten attic, Violet found a journal belonging to the 1942 Violet Hart. Its pages revealed the house was built over a vein of the Earth's pain, a place where human suffering could be harvested to sustain the Syndicate's immortality. The final entry read, "They lied about the ritual. The gate doesn't open, it consumes. And the first victim is always the one who wants to believe." The Syndicate's void pulsed with hunger, its shadowy figures reaching through the portal. Violet stood trapped, her reflection in the mirrors now a golden-eyed stranger. But the journal's warning echoed in her mind. The gate consumes, but it also reveals. The revelation. Violet's blood on the floor wasn't just a ritual tool, it was a key. She remembered the 1942 Violet's words. "The house feeds on fear, but it fears truth." With a scream, she hurled the serpentine palm tree locket into the flames. The symbols on the walls flared, and the Syndicate's mask shattered, revealing their true forms, ancient, faceless entities feeding on human despair. Clara lunged, but Violet stepped into the mirror, her reflection merging with the Syndicate's leader. "You're not my mother," she said. "You're a tool." The final battle. The house itself rebelled. Walls crumbled, and the Syndicate's chant faltered as Violet confronted the entity. "You've been trapped here too," she realized. "The Heart line didn't bargain with you with your escape plan." The entity hissed, its voice a chorus of Syndicate victims. "You'll join us. All hearts do." Violet laughed, though her knees shook. "No, I'm breaking the cycle." She gripped the dagger Clara had used and plunged it into her own palm, letting her blood mix with the Syndicate symbols. The portal's green flame turned white, and the entity's form began to unravel. The sacrifice. The house's final moments were a roar collapsing secrets. Violet's vision blurred as the Syndicate's power surged. She thought of Lila real or not. She deserved a chance into the baby. Its fate still unclear. "You'll never leave," the entity snarled. "I already have," Violet whispered. She leapt into the void, her body dissolving into light. The Syndicate ritual ended not with consumption, but with a light. The aftermath. Morning found Lila in the ruins of Katydid Street. The house was gone, replaced by a field of wildflowers. A locket lay at her feet, its inscription now Violet Hart. Freed. Clara was nowhere to be seen, but her journal was ashore days later, its final entry. I thought power was the answer. It was never enough. The truth revealed. Violet's disappearance made headlines, but Lila chose silence. The syndicate's name faded from memory, buried with the house. Yet in the attic of her new apartment, Lila kept a photo of Violet, the real one, and a map of the lighthouse. The syndicate's ritual had been a loop, but Violet's sacrifice broke it. The entity was gone, its power neutralized by truth. Epilogue: The Weight of Light. Lila's journey. Years later, Lila stood at the edge of the wildflowers, now a renowned artist. Her painting depicted the house's labyrinth, the syndicate's mask, and a girl with golden eyes. Visitors asked if the work was inspired by a ghost story. "It's about truth," she'd say. "The kind that hurts, but sets you free." The baby, now a toddler named Clara, tugged at her. "Where's Aunt Violet?" Lila knelt, her voice soft. "She's in the light, and she's proud." The syndicate's legacy. A historian discovered the 1942 Violet's journal in the lighthouse ruins. Its final pages detail the Hart family's pact. "We traded our souls to the syndicate, but Violet's bloodline could break it." The town erected a plaque at the site, honoring her sacrifice. Tourists whispered of a golden-eyed figure in the wildflowers, but Lila knew better. The syndicate's power was gone, replaced by a simpler truth: fear could be conquered. The final goodbye. On the anniversary of the house's fall, Lila returned to Katydid Street. She placed Violet's locket in the wildflowers, its chain now rusted. "Thank you," she whispered, "for showing me the light." A breeze stirred, carrying the scent of jasmine the same Violet had loved. Moral enclosure. The story's resolution emphasized that true power lies in breaking cycles, not clinging to them. Violet's sacrifice freed not just a family, but the syndicate itself, a paradox that lingered in the wildflower's quiet beauty. The town's newspapers called it a tragedy, but Lila knew better. Violet's choice had been a beginning, not an end. Kindly subscribe to our channel for more scintillating true crime stories.